Hey guys, my name is Diego Gonzalez, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Iwata HP CH Airbrush. So I'm checking out one of these bad boys, and I'm going to actually do a little demo of me airbrushing a part of a portrait. So I want to really test it out and see how well it paints, and the advantages from having one of these to the advantages of having just an Iwata Eclipse is what I've been using for so long. So this is actually my first time ever using it. I've never tried one of these, and I just want to just give you my professional opinion as an airbrush artist for over 14 years, and just check it out. So it's an Iwata Eclipse HP CH airbrush. So I'm going to give my opinion of what I think and how I like it, and the advantages of having one of these, because I never use one of these. As a color cup, this actually looks a little larger than the Iwata Eclipse, and then it has the MAC valve right here, which is what I'm really anxious to use, because I can actually control the airflow by turning this back and forth. So this actually has like a larger diameter thread, which gives you extreme control like when you airbrush, and pretty much there's a stronger tightening on it onto the airbrush, and ensures like better centering of the nozzle when you screw it onto the airbrush body. So it's, the Highland series, has the cutaway like the Iwata Eclipses, which I like. That's pretty dope. And the lever and the needle chuck pretty much is the same. Here's actually, I feel like a little groove on top right here. It's kind of indented, so it has a little perforation on it, so you have better control when you touch it. So I like that. So these little improvements actually, I'm anxious to see what it does and how it works. And you can paint watercolors, solvents, automotive paints, and all of that with this Iwata. Hey guys, I got my airbrush hooked up now, and then I got the canvas set up. So I'm actually going to do a detail of an eye. So I'm airbrushing like all the little wrinkles and folds in there to show you how well detailed you can get with this gun, and also what I think of how it performs. Alright guys, so I added some Pain Gray in my color cup, and let me do some work on it and see how it works. I didn't mess with the nozzle or anything yet. So I'm doing some light strokes on here. Just building up the shape right now. Filling the eye. Rounding it out, really nice. I removed the nozzle cap of this gun so we can get in here and get fine detail, and I did notice that when you move the nozzle cap, you can see a lot more of the needle, which is really interesting. I kind of like it, so you can get closer in here. Man, this paint just lays so nicely, so breezy. So right here, I'm just doing a little back and forth little hash for the hash marks for the skin. And I'm looking at my reference photo, and I'm really just getting these little light shadows, and the atomization of this gun is super nice. It's super soft. It's like velvet or something. Like, that's how it feels. Coming in here, getting in tight, and doing a little shape right there. So let me fill in the background, and actually let me adjust the pressure. So as I turn left, it turns the pressure down, and hear that? I can barely hear it, so that's nice. Let me see if I can do a little bit of a little line with it like that. Yeah, and I can do these little lines. Let me actually zoom in here so you guys can see all this. Right. So come in here really tight and do these little lines. Keep it nice and soft right now. Super nice. The stroke of this is so nice. It's literally like air, even though it is air, but it's like it feels so fine. So like, let me show you right here. Let me do a little wisp. OMG. I should have got these. Oh, I should have got one of these a lot sooner. Now look at that. I can really put in the detail. And let me bring one down here. Let me bring a line. Let me just exaggerate this. Go a little slower so you guys can see it. Right there. Zoom over right here. And let me pan down here and focus right here. So this is where like the super nice, man. I wonder how those other guys can get all this detail. I was just using a regular Eclipse. I mean, those are great guns too. But illustration-wise, this just makes it so much easier. And I can even lay down heavy amounts of paint right there and still have really good control. Let me come back to my reference because I was just playing with it off the reference. Bring down the fold right here. Little wisp right there. Man, look at that. So yeah, I watch a lot of tutorials on how to airbrush, and I see a lot of guys doing a lot of awesome work, and the tutorial is always about technique, right? And how to make the lines, and that is that's what it's technique. But what no one talks about is the equipment, the guns they use, man. I never hear them say the difference or anything. I'm just building that fold in there. This is my first time using this. I've never used this gun ever in my entire life. And Iwata is not paying me to use this gun or say anything. You know, they just gave me a gun, they like my work, and I love Iwata, man. I love their products. So I'm doing a review on it. And yeah, this is why. Let me turn the pressure down a little bit right here. So I want to do these little hatches right here, right? And the great thing about that is I can get this texture in here, like this, and I don't have to run to my compressor and turn it down all the time every time I want to like lower the PSI and lower the pressure. Super great advantage to have. And it really atomizes this paint really well. Alright, so let me work more here under the eye. And I will say this though, when you have a lot of pressure in your tank and you're pulling it down from the gun, there is some added pressure and tension in the gun right here. and I can feel it in my wrist. But I mean, that's a small curve to overcome, and a small, you know, in exchange for the amount of control you get and detail you get from this gun. I'm just playing with it, and let me focus back in here and making this detail so you guys can see when I zoom out. Like these little marks right there and there. And I usually make them softer than this, but I'm going to make them harder so you guys can see it. Back and forth. These little grooves. And what this is like, I could have did a video with showing the little strokes, because look at this. This is all it is. Let me zoom out. Could have done a video with me just doing little lines and strokes, but this is all eye is, right? It's the crevices are just the dagger strokes right here coming really soft, and then on. So this way you can see a project being completed and how this will work for you in your your real work, you know, environment, and your art and any jobs you do as a like a custom painter on like a motorcycle or a bike or something like that. And how the lines and the little dots come out in the painting. So we're doing that little exercise, but we're just doing eye with the exercise, these random lines, random dots, all that here. I come out, have some really nice control out here. You know, I was just gonna do a little bit of the eye to show you guys as an example, but I'm gonna try to finish this other side up real fast so you can see, because I mean, this thing is just so fun to play with, you know? Come back here, building the detail for the eye. And I have a really low PSI set. I probably would estimate that the pressure right now in this gun is, I have my tank set to about 40 PSI, and right now it's around 20 or even under that. I'd probably say like 18 or 15, around there. So it can handle a jump from that really well. And it's handling it all right here with this little precision. So you can hear it, right? The little precision right there. Let me move this aside, because I really don't have to work off of here too much. And actually, let me fill in here this little corner while I'm at it. And you know, I also noticed that I don't have to clean off the tip of my gun as much, because the buildup is actually really easy to get off, opposed to having you know, like an Eclipse I'm used to, like the needle not being as exposed, so it builds up at the end faster. At least that's how it feels for me. You know, that's just my opinion right there. Build some contrast right here. Just need to build it up real fast so I can. Just so. It lays the paint down so nice and so misty. You know? And the trigger. Let me test right there. It's super sensitive. Right there. Maybe some little eyelashes. It's hard to tell in the reference photo. Let me zoom up here and get like another angle. And then let me finish a little bit of the eyelash, the eyebrows right here. I move super fast when I paint. And I know it's hard to catch, so I'm going to slow down a little bit so I can show you guys. Let me do a really controlled stroke. Right there, a long one, a long one, a long one. I'm going to do like a little thin one, a little hairline, a little hair. And I only added a little bit of reducer. And see how it holds the line integrity really well? It's not choppy, it's not breaking up, there's no sputtering or anything. And the only tailors, the only parts that tail off and don't taper really well is because I'm moving fast and it's really, sometimes I do a line that I don't control it perfectly. But look at that. I probably did like a couple hundred of these little lines already, and I mean, it's solid. Better than this. Right there. And then I'll get into the iris and the retina right now. So I'm going to mix some more color into my cup. And I'll add a little bit of reducer in there first. And the last, all that I did right there, I had barely any reducer. Right now I have about, let me mix it before I estimate, maybe 50-50. So this is reduced pretty good right here. I'll shake it up. I'll shake it up on the color cup. So I did some more of the eye off camera. So now what I'm doing is just etching out just some detail real fast of the highlights using an eraser. This is one of those, I think it's the Faber-Caster's Castell eraser. I'm moving really quick here. I just want to get some idea of highlights for the finished piece. Nothing perfect, so I just want to kind of roll it in here. But there, look at some really nice highlights. Some hard erasing. And probably right here too. Right there. Just put it in there. So we have some more contrast between the color. Alright, so that's good now. And right now what I want to do is just paint in the eye. The main center of the eye. So I'm using the gun again, and I want to see, first of all, if I pull it back, this is set to a low PSI, I can really control well how much paint I lay on there, because I don't want to overdo it at first. So that's the great thing about having that air valve. It kind of already stops you before you go too much, you know? So let me add some more paint in here, some reducer. Shake it up for a little while. So it stops you before you lay too much paint on there too. So that's a good way to control yourself. If you're like me and you get like, you know, try to speed through it a little faster, you know, that way it checks you. And that's a great tool to have. It saves time in case you would make a mistake. And time is money, of always, if you're working on a project. So I'm holding I'm holding the trigger down, and the airflow is still really nice and consistent. And here, I can test these little dagger strokes. Let's see if I can move them closer. Here we go. Brighten it up a little bit so you guys can see. Lay in these little strokes, little tiny eyelids, little tiny kind of bursts of paint in here. Let me come back here and feather it out, even it out. It's super dark up here, but I just want to build them in here. Even though I'm going to cover this up again, these little tiny details, so it makes your work stand out. And come in here, build the shadows. I have really fine control. I want to make a card line here to establish the bottom of the eye and where that meets. Perfect. And then the bottom of the eye here, where that meets. And then darken it up on top. And I feel like I want to move a little faster, throw a little more paint on there. But it's good that I have this valve here to keep me back from doing that because I don't want to overdo it too fast. I'll lay that in there. Come around here. Building that pupil. Keep it kind of faint and kind of fuzzy. And that color there. I kind of want to fuzz around where the whitest whites are going to be. And build that in dark. Go in there like that. And then I come back here with my eraser. To bring back these highlights. Give it like a kind of like dream-like effect in the eye. build that up. Kind of fill in this a little more. Kind of glaze over the eye. Alright. So I turn up the pressure so I can lay some paint on here really nice and quickly. Get this show on the road. I really wanted to find these areas because this is where the full main center of the piece is going to be. Part of it off camera, and just adding the detail in here of the shadows and the dark tones and the dark colors right now. Back and forth, just adding these tiny wisps in there. Just making these tiny wisps under the eye. And under the eye there's usually a lot of shadows because the lower eyelid, you know, actually has like a little groove to it, and then it allows and it casts a shadow underneath your eye. So I'm always conscious of putting some darker colors under there. I'm actually making the tones a lot darker, and I say tones, but what's a better word is to use is value. Bringing it to the color I'm using to a darker value. I'm being very like moving around and kind of building it up as I go. But it's near the end, so I really want to get this done, and I'm really coming in here and just putting darker, you know, strokes in there and pulling the trigger back. And it's really cool because there's a locking mechanism in the back of the airbrush, and what that does is stops you from pulling back too far. So in case, you know, you want to like really fine tune it in really well, you can lock it where you don't want to push it back that far, and that'll keep you from making any mistakes if you get tired or you just kind of pull the trigger back a little bit. And that's really awesome to have when you're doing portraits, because I can't count how many portraits and paintings I've done where I was like 98% complete, and I just wanted to add like one more shadow in a small part, like underneath the nose or, you know, around the eyes, and I just pulled the trigger back too far and it went everywhere, and it just, yeah, you know how that feels, you know, it's like so devastating. You're like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? And you know, you try to spend a bunch of hours correcting it or doing whatever you have to do for something like that. So that's super neat. I really like that feature. And so I'm building around the arch of the top of the eyebrow. So if you study anatomy, there's a bone that goes under here, and then the hollow inside your eye is where it's always darker inside your eyelids and underneath and everything like there. So just adding little dots too, and these little circles and half circles of specks. It's really important to have that in there. So is breaks up all these, you know, little lines that you're throwing in here, because really what these are just dagger strokes, man. Like, and dagger strokes are the foundation of every airbrush painting, and you're building them up. And this is why I chose, you know, doing an eye, so I can really test out the gun, and it's more interesting than just doing, you know, some just basic lines and circles and, you know, checking it one by one next to each other. This really gives you a real world project, and something that you can do to really test it out. So if you do pick up one of these guns, you know, try it out, do a monochromatic, you know, do a one color portrait, and just play with the dark and light value so you can work and really just test out the gun, you know, just learn it, and just get a cool painting too while you're at it. Killing two birds with one stone. So right here I see there's another dark shadow underneath the eye, and it's really prominent in the picture. I want to really etch that in there, really spray that in there. And then I come back again, add these circles, strokes, hatches, cross hatches. Just trying to get all this done right now. Adding the darker shadow underneath there. And I'm really building the shadows around the eye and really hollowing it out with the dark and light and really separating the values and the shades. So that pulls all the dark colors back and recedes, and then all the warm and all the lighter colors actually forward. So that gives it that three-dimensional kind of look to it, like it's popping out the canvas. And that's something that's really cool about when you airbrush. You know, it's really cool to achieve that effect. And that's why I love airbrushing as a tool above, this is why I chose to be an airbrush artist instead of any other kind of artist, because it's fun to play with these guns, and you get to do these portraits and all these cool effects that you can't achieve with any other kind of tool, really. Not the way you can do with an airbrush. So I'm lightly wisping the colors around the outside. I'm very conscious of making it's soft too. You notice I'm not throwing any hard lines on the outside. So it really makes a focal point in the center of the eye. All right. So the eye is the focal point, and it's the focal point of the painting. Adding some more shadows that cast from above your eyelid and your eyebrow, because there's like your hollowness inside your eye where the eye is, and it recedes in, and underneath there is a shadow that's cast. That's why you have dark circles sometimes under your eyes and stuff if you don't get enough sleep, because that cavity is being hollowed out and stuff, because your skin, something to do with your skin, not having enough water, being elastic, and things like that. So adding the little touches on there to really make it pop out. And this really changes the whole painting, just adding that contrast. I'm really being conscious of contrasting colors. The whites, making them lighter, and then the blacks, making them blacker, and then just right there is a little mid-tone. It's in between white, and it's in between that darker dark, the darker dark value. Just checking my reference every now and then I'm holding it in my hand so it's closer to my eye, and I'm just one-handing it right here so I can really look at the detail close up, and then pull it back and then put it in there really well. So there it goes.
Guys, it's Diego Gonzalez from mindlesspaint.com, and I just finished working on this review of the Iwata HP CH Airbrush. I did a study of an eye, and it was blast. This is my first time using this gun, and I love it. I mean, the colors, how it lays paint, you're able to do all the detail and all of that. That's super awesome. It's definitely a tool if you're an artist and you want to bump your game up to the next level. If you're an illustrator, if you like to work on cars and you want to get that super fine detail, this is something that I actually regret I didn't buy sooner. There's a total difference between airbrushes. When I was using the other airbrush, the Iwata Eclipse, I love that gun. I still love that gun, but definitely you can tell it's great. And so check it out, man. I appreciate you following me and checking out my review. And if you want to learn more tips, tricks, and everything, and reviews about guns and equipment, check out my channel. Drop a comment below, let me know what you want to see, and sub to my channel. I appreciate it. Hit the little subscribe button. It's like around here somewhere down there. I don't know where on the side, but sub to my channel. I appreciate it, and thank you, Iwata, for sending me this airbrush and letting me test it out. You guys rock. You guys are awesome, and I'm a super fan of Iwata. They're not paying me to use it or anything. They just love, they like my work and everything, and I love Iwata, and this gun is super dope. So check back with you guys again, and please check out my channel, sub, and all that good stuff. And I'll show you more tips, more tricks. So check it out, man, and check out my channel. All right, later. Bye.